tuning in for the first time, this is Two Cities Church. This is our midweek service. It's what we call around here leading them well. This midweek service that we're doing, it started as a result of the coronavirus and people sheltering in place, and parents who needed a little bit of advice were looking for some suggestions on how to lead their children well. That's why the title of this is Lead Them Well. So part of what we're doing in this midweek Bible study, if you want to call it that, is equipping parents on how to train their children up to know and to love Jesus and to live for Jesus. So the subtitle, the second thing that you see on the screens there is this is really family Bible training. And this is really designed for children. So what I want to ask you to do right now is, parents, will you just grab your children, gather around on Facebook or on YouTube or on Instagram, gather them around your tablet, or maybe you're watching this on TV, gather them around for just a second, and we're going to teach you, parents, how to train your children up in the Lord, how to disciple your children. But children, will you tune in for just a second? Because this week is a special week. We brought in what I'm going to refer to as the heavy hitter today, because we brought in a career educator. For most of you who have come to a Two Cities Church service, you've had a chance to meet Mr. Len McWilliams. He's literally spent his career in education, in Christian education, spent his career teaching children or teaching teachers and faculty how to teach children well. So in just a second, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to step out of the picture. I'm going to turn things over to Mr. Len McWilliams, and he's going to talk to you about how you can follow Jesus better this week. Better children, parents, how you can lead your children to follow Jesus better. So with that, I'm not going to give your whole bio, though it deserves to be said. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to step out of the picture and take it away.
Thanks, Jeff. Yes, I did spend about 35 years in Christian education. And during that time, I had the opportunity and the privilege of working with hundreds, probably thousands of students, from the kindergarten through high school, and with teachers every day. And it is such a privilege to be here and to share with you and your family one of the lessons that God taught me during that time that is the most important. So if you haven't got the children gathered around, let's do that, and let's start with them. And I want to talk to them first. So as they gather together, students, I want to talk to you about motivation. Now, for some of you, motivation is a big word. It means just what makes you want to do your very best in anything. And we're going to talk about that. Over the years, I have seen students that had a lot of ability. They're really smart. And some of them did very well in school, but some of them didn't. And I've seen other students that didn't have quite as much ability, but they really did well in school. And what I found over time was the difference was their motivation. And in looking into that and searching for that, I went to Scripture and asked God to show me what He thought about motivation. And I came across this verse in the Bible, and it's one that we're going to look at this week, and it's Colossians 3:23. And it says this will be your memory verse for this week. And we're going to do it the way that Jeff has taught us to do it. It's Colossians 3:23. And it says, and whatever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not to men. Colossians 3:23. Let's do it one more time. It's Colossians 3:23. It says, and whatever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not to men. Colossians 3:23. I want to talk to you about 3 ideas in there. The first one is that word whatever. And what that means is that it means everything that you do, in everything that you do. And it is, we're focusing on your schoolwork right now, but it applies to so much more than that. You may be on a baseball team. You may play music and practice for that. You may do chores around your house, do jobs for your family. It doesn't matter what it is. It's whatever you do. So it includes everything. I know when we're talking about school, I know that you probably, like most students, you have a favorite subject, something that you really like. It's easy to get motivated about that. But you also have some other subjects that you don't really care for, that you don't like too well, that are kind of hard for you to get going. But when it says whatever, it includes those subjects, those tasks that are not your favorite. And that's important. So it includes everything. I know in my case, my subject my favorite subject was math. And it was easy for me to really do my best there. In some other subjects, to be honest, I just kind of did the minimum that I had to. But that's not what God wants us to do. The second idea I want to talk to you about is how you do it. It says in that verse, it says to do it heartily. And what that's talking about is that you do it the very best effort that you have with all of your heart. And it doesn't mean just on the easy things, but it's on the hard things. Not just the little things, but the big things. It means the things that you like to do and those things that you don't like to do. It's talking about everything. You do it heartily. And it means with your whole effort. Now, let me explain something. When you're doing something like that, it doesn't say to do it perfectly. God doesn't expect you to do something perfect, but He knows our heart. And He knows when we've done it with our whole heart. And that's what He expects. The third thing about that verse, it says, and whatever you do, do it heartily. And this is the most important part because it says why you do it. You do it as to the Lord, is what it says. And what that means is you do that job, whatever it is. You do that as if you are doing it for Jesus. If it is a school assignment, if it is, whether it's a homework assignment or a final exam or a major project, it doesn't matter. Each of those things, you do it just like when you take that and you're going to turn it in, not just to your teacher, but you're turning it in to the Lord, giving it to Him. And you're saying, this is my best. That's why you do it, is for Him. Now it says, and not to men. Let me explain that. It's a good thing for you to do things, and your motivation, what you're really trying to do is to do your best for your teacher. That's good. Or you're doing it your best for your parents or for your coach. That's good, but it's not best. The very best motivation is driven when you can do something and you know that you are doing that and for the Lord, and you're doing it to please Him. And it's a statement that this is my best. Now, putting all this together, this is the last thing, students, putting this all together. God gives you the whatever things you do. He's the one that gives you whatever you're going to do. And He wants you to know the joy that comes from doing your very best, no matter what it is, doing your very best. And He wants you to do that because you're doing it for the right person, and that's Him. You're not doing it for anybody else. You're not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it for Him. That's what Colossians 3:23 is talking about. Let's say it one more time, and then we'll wrap it up. It's Colossians 3:23, and whatever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not to men. Colossians 3:23. Okay, students, that's everything there. I do want to talk to parents a little bit and how you can accentuate this. And so let me take a few minutes to do that and just talk to parents. There's a concept that will help your children to really get everything out of this motivation. It will help them to understand a concept there that is very important. It ties in, this kind of ties in with some of the lessons that Jeff has taught recently about what God is like. You know, he talked about the fact that we cannot see God. But though we cannot see Him, He works through authorities that He places in our lives to give us the things that He wants us to do, that whatever we do. And He works through authority to do that. Now, it may be, there are different kinds of authority. There's family authority and work authority and government authority. There are different kinds of authority. And what I'd like for you to do, parents, is to look at that. Some of that is at the first part of chapter 3 in Colossians. You can see some of those things. Some of the others about government and about church authority, you may have to look those up. But those are all important. But that's the way God chooses. One of the things that He's like is He chooses to work through authority and to give us those things to do. And I was thinking about how to get this concept across to students, because it's kind of an abstract, and for little children that's not that easy. Because they can't see the person. When they can see their teacher, they can see their coach, it's difficult for them to make that transition, to look beyond that person to the Lord. And you can help them in this. One of the ways is to explain it to them, but that's not the best way. The best way is for you to demonstrate that by the way that you function in front of them, by example. And I thought about how to illustrate this, and the simplest way would be to give you a couple of scenarios. One is for the student, and one is for you. Okay, let's say your student, your child, is on a ball team, and they're playing baseball or softball, and they've got their heart set on being the pitcher. That's what they know that's special. They want to be the pitcher. And they get to the field, and the coach decides that they need to play in the outfield. That's not where their heart was. But they decide that they are to play in the outfield. Now, if they understand this concept that we're talking about looking past the person that they can see, the coach, to the person that they can't see, God, and understand that's their opportunity to be the very best outfielder that they can be, because that's what God has given them to do. That's the whatever you do. That helps them to understand that. It helps them to look past the person, the authority that is there, and look to God for the source of what they're doing. Now for you, I thought about giving an illustration about work situations, but something else came to my mind in our current situation. I know it sounds far-fetched, but what if there was a pandemic and your children couldn't go to school, schools were closed, and you were their teacher now? It's one of those things to where you didn't choose this. It is something that the school or the government has chosen, and they have thrust you into this position that is so strange to you and may be uncomfortable to you. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to apply what we're talking about with the children. It's an opportunity to look past those authorities that you can see, government, school, whatever, and that God has given you this chance. He has put you in a position, and maybe a tough position, to exercise just what we're talking about, to accept it as something that is coming from Him, not from somebody, and to respond to that in a way that you do your very best. It doesn't say perfect, it says heartily, and that you can know the joy that comes from doing your best. And that's the best way to teach it to your children. It's all about motivation. And that guide in Colossians 3:23 is what has been provided. And whatever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not to men. Thank you for this opportunity to share with you, and may God bless you as you lead your children well.
Len, thank you for joining us for this week, midweek session of Family Bible Training, Leading Your Children Well. Thank you for reminding me that though I may not be in the environment that I want to be in right now, this is the whatever that God has given me. And thanks for reminding parents, hey, you may feel like I am not equipped to be a teacher. Well, this is the whatever that God has given you right now. So parents, help your children give heartily as unto the, or work heartily as unto the Lord. And right now, parents, you were challenged this week to work heartily as both mom and teacher, dad and teacher, because that's the whatever that you find yourself in right now. After this video ends, there is a closed Facebook group that will meet together. This is a chance for parents to encourage other parents. This is a chance for children to get on social media in a safe environment and to practice their memory verse with other children on social media. If you're not a part of that closed Facebook group, we're going to give you some details in the information for this video on how you can get connected to that closed Facebook group. Thanks for taking some time and for teaching us today how we're supposed to give and serve as unto the Lord. Thank you for joining us today. You guys have a great night, and God bless you.